Hey everyone out there, looks like we are live. It's great to see everyone. Happy Wednesday. This is the final live stream from Little Ferry, New Jersey. And so it's an end of an era. I had this studio for 16 years and that's it. So this is wrapping it up. Next time it's going to be a new location, Burbank, California at no, not Burbank. Peoria, perhaps, or it could be um, Lithuania. So I'm not sure exactly where the next location is going to be, but it's always interesting. But definitely, hopefully, God willing, we won't miss a live stream. Keep our streak alive, right, of continuous live streams. I am so tired. It's just been a rough week. Trying to wrap things up here. So let's see. We have JC. How's it going all the way from the Georgia area? Great to see you, my friend. We have Colette all the way from Wisconsin. So wonderful to see you. Oz, how you doing from the Atlanta area as well? Great to see you. We got two Georgia in the house. And we have Steve Leahy all the way from Ohio, hailing out of Massachusetts. And we have Mark W. How's it going? Great to see you, Mark W. And Michael McClung, how are you, sir? Great to see you. Mark W., where are you from exactly? And Michael, I know you are from Maryland, so that's fantastic. So very cool. We have Travis all the way from the Minneapolis area. Great to see you. How's it going? So what a great group. Michigan, fantastic, Mark. Great to see you. So glad you're here. And so wonderful. So it's great to see you, Mark. Mark, is this your first time with us today? And so I think it is. Everyone, let's welcome Mark. I believe we just became Facebook friends. And if you're to say, Mark, I love your work, especially the hockey player. He did a really nice hockey player. Just fantastic. It's not easy, you know, the way you did the numbers and everything. It's out of this world. And Mr. Air Todd, all the way from San Diego, where the weather doesn't change, but it stays beautiful. So that is great. And let's see, we have Mr. Roy all the way from New Jersey. Great to see you, sir. Roy and I are doing this really cool Black Panther, and we're doing it with candies. I have the stained fingers to prove it. Uh, wear gloves when you wear candies. When you wear gloves when you paint with candies, it's a dye and it will stain your skin a little bit. So always wear gloves when you do candies. It's always that's a great bit of advice I can share with you guys. Thanks. Mr. Leahy says it's a great group. It sure is. So fantastic to see everybody today. Like I said, I'm a little bit on the tired side, but pray to God that he blesses the live stream because I can't do it without him. I can't do one inhale and exhale without him. So right now, what we're going to do, and let's see, the dye takes forever to clean out of the spray guns. Yes, so true. I mean, it's beautiful. Here's the Candy 2.0. We used that yesterday. I used this one, which was the lemon yellow, and then the emerald green we didn't get to use. I found tequila yellow a really cool color. You know, it was very cool. So let's see, what are we going to do today? Let me pull up our reference here. And we'll put our logo here so we know who we are. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up my reference. If you haven't used the program PureRef, I highly recommend it. If you're going to go ahead and use your computer screen as a reference, please do it. It's so great. You could add several photos to it. You can go in and out. It could stay on top if you want. It's just really amazing. So I really love it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to actually work on her face a little bit. And I have everything muted, but I want to bring out just a little bit of light in her skin tone. So I'm going to use that orange and white mixture. And of course, we're working with Wicked today. And so that's really cool. Oh, Steve, you had your open studio today? So I'm definitely going to check it out. And sorry I missed your live stream on Monday, but moving is really taking its toll on me. I'm not getting to do anything that I really enjoy except for moving. Let's see, what are we gonna do? Let's gonna put everything but the face, right? So let's see. And this is my little scrap paper. And Mr. Brad, how's it going? Great to see you, sir. Yes, you don't want to eat candy. Not these kind of candies, right? Let's see. I'm looking for the face only shield. And we're going to put this on her. And what I want to do is basically just pull out some of the lights. And I want to control overspray. You really can't stop it at this stage, but you can control it, right? And Mr. Leahy says, the razor blades are fun. No worries, Tim. I know you have your hands full. Yeah, it's a rough week, but we should be getting back to normal. Now, I'm my normal, not normal. So what I'm going to do is, I know my glasses are in my jacket, and I am going to get the cups. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, thank you so much for waiting. So I want to show you something that I purchased today. I think this is 500 of these 1 ounce cups. And I think it ran me only, maybe like $10. Mr. Brad, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I really appreciate you. $20. That is amazing. I am so appreciative. And I just want to say thanks always for your support. It's wonderful to work with you, in our classes. And you're just an amazing talent. Now, me and Brad have been working together for a long time. And he has come so far and he has such control with his airbrush. It's really amazing. So Brad, thank you so much. Thank you for working with me. I really appreciate it. So I just bought the whole big thing of cups. Here we go. So before I got these, which was the 250, so these are really great. Whoop. As I just break one in my hands. So thank you so much, Mr. Brad. You are a big part of this channel, and I really, really do appreciate all of your support, my friend. Okay, anyone new? Patty, how's it going? Great to see you. So glad you're here. So that is fantastic. So we have this here, and we're going to come in with the Wicked White. Now, all of Wicked, except for the actual Wicked Opaque, are on the transparent side. Of course, white isn't, but let's see. We're going to So what I like to do is I coat the bottom of this 1 ounce cup, right? And then I take Wicked Orange, and I believe it's Wicked Orange, actually Wicked Detail Orange. And I'm going to put 2 drops. And JC, oh man, I am exhausted, my brother. It is not easy. It's like working full time with my art, you know, in my classes and trying to move. It's really rough, you know. And then I'm going to 40-11 it right here. Just like that. We 40-11'd it. And then we're listening to the brilliant people over at Createx, and they said to put about 10% of the 40-50. And let's see, Mike says he's enjoying himself on vacation at hunting camp. Oh, I'm so glad you're having your vacation, sir. Are you having a great time and relaxation and all that stuff? All right, so now I'm going to get my palette knife, my plastic palette knife. And I do have a temporary place. Thank you so much, Patty. Yes. So I have a temporary place to lay my head and work and continue doing my classes and my live streams. So that's good. But I'm still on the lookout for, you know, a place where I could be for like a year or so. And let's see, because I've lived here for 16 years. Okay, so now we have, see that? It's nice and thin, and it has a little bit of, thank you so much, JC. JC says his casa is my casa, and I do appreciate that more than you know, my friend. In one of these airbrushes, I have some India ink, so I'm going to take this one aside. And we have this one right here, which is the Vega 1000. And we're going to load this. Now I may be paying the price because I did not thoroughly clean my airbrushes, which I usually do before a live stream. Let's see if we can get away with it. You know, there's only one way to do it, and that's the right way. And the fact that I didn't thoroughly clean my airbrush, I deserve what I get. So let's see. Yes, JC said must be hard to say goodbye after 16 years. Yeah, I mean, I was married when I moved in here. And, you know, whole different world, my friend, you know. And so it's just a lot of... Mr. Travis, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. It means the world to me. I appreciate you so much. And, you know, your friendship and your support is really amazing in all of your hard work. So I just want to say thank you, Travis. Love your work. Love your participation. And thank you for being a part of this little airbrush community. You are appreciated by me. And Mr. Garcia, how are you? How's the coquito going? This is coquito season, that's for sure. And JC says, well, Tim, you got my address. Thank you, sir. That's a heartfelt thank you. I really appreciate you. And Patty says, I'm always welcome there in the Midwest. Thank you. You guys are amazing. And so cool of all the support and friendship and outpouring that you guys are giving me. And I don't take it lightly. It means the world to me. And, oh, so cool. So people are saying hello to one another. That is great. That's what I love, community. So remember, I have my scrap piece of paper, and this is really important, and I talk about in my class, is that you want to see how things are spraying, right? It's very important. And we have Mr. Ryan all the way from Canada. Great to see you. How's it going? I am so glad you're here, my friend. Always a pleasure. So here goes. We're just going to, I'm going to see what it does. So I'm just going to go real light. And you can see that we do get white with that by putting a little bit of orange. It fights the blue shift, and how it does it is that the orange is a complement of blue, so they kind of cancel each other out, and then you're left with the white, and that's how that works. So we're just going to very ever so lightly and from far away, maybe about 6 inches away, because I don't want the white to take over. I just want it to be almost a transparent. So I'm going to be maybe 6 inches away. And because when you're 6 inches away, what happens is that the droplets of paint actually are further away. So it reveals more of what's underneath, right? And that's really, really crucial. And we're going to do a little bit here on the side of the nose. There we go, and let's see right up here, that little highlight on her forehead, or frontal bone, I should say. And a little bit of light here on the supraorbital eminence. There we go. And so it just putting in just the tiniest bit of light by using this mixture. See that? Just the tiniest bit. And I'm far away because I don't want a hard edge, I want a soft edge on this light. And also right underneath the bottom lip, a little bit of light there. And a little bit of light just above the orbicularis oris. Ryan, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. That is amazing. I'm so glad to have your support and your friendship. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you being here and all of your participation in the community and being part of the community, and you're helping the community continue. So thank you so much. Really appreciate you, sir. You are great. I always look forward to seeing you. Just want you to know that. Brian Dunbar, how's it going? Great to see you. You were from Indiana, I believe. Am I correct? Let me see if my memory serves me correct. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, sir. Let's see. So it's cool. I mean, I love all the places that we're from here. We could be a really cool community and be from so many different places. So you see how I use my my freehand shield to kind of put the light right below the orbicularis oris. And we're going to have this light kind of extend up, like so. There we go. And let's see, we have here Indiana. Okay, so you live in Indiana, but you're not a Hoosier. Oh, cool. Where are you from, my friend? So I have some black tea with lime today. And it's nice and cold out, so black tea with lime sounds pretty good. Tastes really good, too. I made it a bit strong. I let it brew a long time. Oh, Brian's an Illinois man. So cool. So great to see you. And let's see here. Okay. Like right over here. Maybe a little bit more light here. And all right. So let's go ahead and remove it. And see how she looks. If there's a little more punch to her portrait, and I think it is. And so right in here, I want to calm this down. It's a little rich as far as value. So I'm going to be way far away, maybe like 10 inches. And just calm that down there. Same grinding here. Just calm that down. Michael for $20 super chat sticker. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate you, and I'm so happy you're part of this community, and look forward to seeing you every week. And thank you so much. And like, I'm always here if you have any airbrush questions. I just want to say thank you so much. Loving your work, how it's coming out. And Michael, I really, really appreciate your support. And like I said, I'm so glad you're part of the community, sir. Thank you so much. And you're on vacation. What an honor to take time out of your vacation to hang out with us. That is such an honor, sir. I just want you to know that. And just a little bit here. And let's see. You guys are so great and generous. Thank you so much. And this being the last week of, this is the last week of November. So thank you so much for all the super chats. Last month was a record as far as the amount of super chats in 1 month. I just want to thank you for that. And we're close to even beating it this month. So that's exciting. And thank you for the support. And I really appreciate you. Now, the white, what's really great is the white will soften things up. And then I can come in, the orange and white mixture, and bring in more color. So I can go back and forth to really continue, you know. And then that's really good. So I like doing that. Now I'm going to use this and see if I can use this for the highlight on the nose. Dun dun dun. This is Steve Leahy territory, I'll tell you that much. And let's see. Not with this. I'm not going to go. Thank you so much, Mr. Steve. I appreciate that more than you know. Thank you, sir. And it's an honor that you're at my live stream. I'm such a big fan of your work. Definitely. Without a doubt. And Ryan says he hopes we all don't get what we deserve. You all are great people, so you deserve the best. And that's the key. And wow, Stephen Leahy with the $20 super chat sticker. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate you. That is so amazing. Like I said, it's an honor to have you on the live streams here. I mean, your knowledge and how much you teach all of us about working small, about working with wicked paints. It's just amazing. Thank you so much for being part of this little community, and I'm so happy to be part of your community online as well, sir. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And Michael says he's enjoying my work, as well as Steve and Scott McKay. That teaches him a lot that he has learned this year. I'm glad to be a part and be in the same sentence with those guys, Michael. And we have Patricia Coro. He said, Patricia says she is beautiful. Chris is telling me about your amazing talent. Thank you, Patricia. I appreciate that so much. You're amazing. Everyone, let's welcome Patricia here. It's so wonderful to see you. And thank you so much, Chris, for saying nice things about my work. I really appreciate you. So that is so great. So welcome, Patricia. It's a pleasure to meet you. So thank you for stopping by. I hope to see you again. And we can talk about everything. Doesn't even have to be about airbrush. You know, whatever is on your mind, we talk about. So that's cool. Mostly airbrush, but we can talk about anything. It's pretty loose and laid back here. I wanted to come in with that, but not with this. This is not a detail airbrush. This is sort of what I use to do some of the larger areas. Speaking of larger areas, I like moving around. So let's see if we can go ahead and work on her dress a little bit with this light mixture. So again, even though it has orange in it, it translates as white. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pump that trigger and kind of try and get some light, but do it in a sense where I'm getting texture at the same time. So I'm lightening it, I'm pumping that trigger, and I'm getting the texture of the fabric, kind of like, it's not like porcelain. It kind of, has a lot of lumps and everything. And Ryan says, after today's failed painting session, it's nice to sit back and watch the masters. Ah, Ryan, you do some great work, We learn so much more when we have trouble, don't we? So think of it that way. It's like you had a very good learning session, and all is not lost. By tomorrow, you could look at that painting and you could say, you know what? There's something I can do. And that's what happens to me. And so right now, I may go over with some of this, brown glaze over it. But right now, I'm just going to work on getting some of that texture with this white mixture. While I have it in the brush, I'm going to go ahead and use it, right? So that's important. And so, again, I'm just going to hit those lights. And, with this white mixture, with the orange, you can actually use it to kind of soften things up. It does a great job in softening. So like right here, it might be a little harsh. So with this orange and white mixture, I can really calm that down and then come in and decide where I want some of the darker darks, right? So this orange and this white and orange mixture is like to me, I use it a lot. It really is indicative of what I do to gain texture and to continue working in this manner, I like being a opaque painter, right? Several layers going in with the orange mixture, going over it with transparency, and kind of continuing that until I get the total look that I want. Like right here, you can see, looks like I overdid it with this orange mixture, white and orange mixture, but I'm going to glaze over that. And so basically, it's sort of like playing chess. I'm thinking several moves ahead, right? And that's basically, my whole thinking. Travis says he remembers when he gets or I get super pissed and learn something valuable and you never do it again. Definitely. It's like when you're playing chess and you lose your queen and some people just resign. I say, play it out. You lose your queen early, you're really going to remember not to bring the queen out early. Keep them there. Same thing. If we continue with the painting and work it out, then we're going to know, okay, so next time I'm going to pay more attention to, let's say if you're doing hands, make sure you get the anatomy right of the fingernails, right? That was one thing I learned years ago, where I waited to draw out the fingernails at the end, and did I pay the price? Oh my God. So those are things you never forget, right? It's like when you're a kid and you touch the iron and you burn your finger, you remember that moment. And that's why it's so good, so important to have those disasters, because those disasters will keep you on the straight and narrow. There we go. And you can see how by using this mixture, I could calm down some of these values here. See how I calm that down, and I can come right back in and go over them if I want. But it's a great way to soften everything. Because I felt that was a little harsh, right? And also it creates an opacity to it, which gives your surface more like an oil painting. And I love that. And let's see. JC says Tim's good at taking students. Tim is good at taking students. Tell me about it. What do you mean? Oh, taming students. Okay, cool. I don't want to be taking students, but taming you guys, yes. Just to, you know, have you guys get that control and do the artwork that I know you guys can do, you know? And that's the thing, you know, and a good teacher is someone who really is able to hone in on the strengths of the student, but making sure that they're not overindulgent during the learning process, right? So it's sort of like that, you know, you want to keep your students super excited, so you pick subject matter that they want, but you still have to, we have to kind of walk that line together. But, you know, so cool. You know, very true, JC. And Travis says that there's so many variables in painting, especially from metal to final clearance coat. So many times you feel hopeless or want to throw your tools. Just keep going. Yeah, you know, work it out, you know, fight through it. And you'll get through it, you know. And Brad says, Tim, did you get rid of the undo last move button in Krita? So let's see. I'm not sure the undo last button in Krita. I will get back to you on that, Brad. Mr. Mark, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm so glad you're at the live stream. Thank you so much for the super chat. It means so much to get support from you all in the friendship, and I'm just so excited that you guys are here and just hanging out with me. And you know, Wednesday, there's so many cool things out there, and I'm just so honored that you all decide to spend 2 hours with me and just to hang out and talk about art and just have fun. But Mark, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad we're friends on Facebook. And once again, I really love your work. Really love your work. And Control Z still there, Brad, as far as I know. Yes. So yeah, the Control Z is still undo. Did you get rid of the undo last move button in Krita? Did they? No, it's still Control Z. But in your case, because Brad is he's an Apple, so it would be Command Z. So that would be, thank you so much, Mark. Thank you. It's an honor to be your friend. And, oh, Travis says he still needs to get a piece from me. Ah, thank you, sir. It would be an honor to have my work in your collection, definitely. And, oh, yeah, Control Z, right? It's like when you say, so here's a funny story. I'm at an art show, really quick, right? So I'm at an art show about the Control Z. And this is many years ago. And the head of the art organization comes up, and he's accompanied with this woman. And she has this like really like super big smile on her face. And her head, it's like, it's all like wiry and everything like that. And looks like there's a flower here. And I remember I was going to say nice hat, but it just, sometimes you stop it just before, and I went nice, and I went to meet you, and between nice and just those seconds between nice to meet you and nice hat, I realized she didn't have a hat on. So that would have been bad. So that was the one moment where I would have just had to leave the gallery at that point, you know, telling a woman she has a nice hat when it's her hair. So that would have been really bad, you know. So yeah, definitely. Control Z. If you can go back in time and Control Z, right? So why I have this light, I'm going to intensify this fluorescent light or halogen light. Just intensify it a little bit. So yeah, I like moving around, especially with this white mixture. I really like doing that. And notice that I'm super softening things up. And then I'm going to come back in with, maybe some paintbrush techniques, but I want to come in with this kind of off-white eggshell after this. And let's see. So yeah, Control Z. Is that like the edit undo? Yes, exactly. So Brad, they didn't get rid of it. It's Command Z, but also you could go up to edit and you can hit undo from there as well. So that works as well, sir. But when we get together, I want to work on your tablet. I want to work on your your shortcut keys, and we can actually assign a shortcut key to that, so you won't even have to worry. You just remember that shortcut key on your tablet, on your Huion. And I'm just going to clean up this edge here. So last background, I did a lot of paintbrush technique, but this background, it had so much more bokeh that most of the background is being done with just airbrush. And so you see, just kind of intensifying the background as well. I'm moving around a lot, and I'm not in a rush to finish it. And this is where we really have to be careful, because if we are in a rush to finish it, then we get into trouble and we start getting sloppy. So whenever I feel like today I wanted to get it done, like, yes, I'm going to get it done. And I'm like, okay, slow your roll, Tim, and just pull it back, So that's what I'm doing right now. Just kind of working on the ensemble to get where I want to be. And Mike says, Tim, I'm looking forward to using your airbrush. Yes, and that's going out before my move. So I'll be moved out before the beginning of next week. So in the next day or so, it'll be shipping out. And remember the extra stuff I'm giving you. So that was already done. So now there's nothing to stop me. And Mr. Travis says his next goal is to get more text stuff with the vector files and turning sketches into cut files like Scott McKay does. Yeah, definitely. Do you have a Cameo 4, or do you have a Cricut? Because that would really help you. And then you could follow along with Mr. McKay, definitely. Mr. McKay is a great teacher. He's very giving on his live streams, just as Steve Leahy is. And, I learn from those guys. I watch them, I take notes, and they help me. They help me to be a better artist. And that's the great thing about these communities, is that they help you to be better. And, and that's why I try to support these guys as much as I can, Again, I am working on this kind of halogen lamp, and it seems like on the ends, just before it gets kind of like not all the way at the end, but just as you get close to the end, that's where it's lightest, and then you have sort of the transition, and then it's not as light in the middle. So that's just my own little observation. So yeah, take your time when you see these little changes. And, that's where you got to, slow it down. Cameo is a great tool. Yes, it really is. And JC, did you get one? I know you're in the market of the Cameo. And I think you'll, if you probably already have it. If you don't, I know you'll love it. But JC does great work without the Cameo, which is cool. Oh, you got it. Yes, I'm so happy. Yes, that is so great. Are you using Critter with it, JC? There he is, Mr. Cheese Grits and NyQuil, a.k.a. Patrick from Massachusetts. Amazing chef. This guy has so many talents. He's kind of like Paul Gauguin, Whatever he touches, he excels at. He's one of those people who has this natural ability to pick things up and to really, really excel. So it's really nice to see. It really is. And oh, right here it's a little bit light. There's like a light right here in the fold. So you see how I'm kind of creating that texture by moving back and forth. And oh, great. So JC's using the teachings. That's amazing. That is so fantastic. And so Travis says the biggest thing is that he can do it by hand if needed, just so many to make the original art. Yeah, it's all about making the process more streamlined. We can do everything freehand if we need it. If the power grid went off, Mr. Leahy would still be doing amazing work. It wouldn't stop him in any bit. Uh, it's just right now it's all about speed, especially when you're making a living on it. You can do, I could do it by hand, but in 8 hours would become like maybe 35 to 40 hours. So that is really uh, something that you got to watch out for. Mr. Cheese Grits and NyQuil said he's blushing, so but he is an amazing talent. That's the great thing about being a teacher, is that you learn so much from your students, and it kind of gets that fire back, because you see how your students are really pumped, and then it's kind of contagious, especially if you are doing the grind, and we all know what the grind is, when you're doing it as for a living and you're doing it 8 hours a day, sometimes 10 hours a day. And so when you're in that grind, it becomes kind of, your routine. So the students remind us, yeah, this is fun, and oh, great. I'm looking forward to that, JC. I can't wait. And so definitely cool. So I really appreciate it. And JC's got you a tool to make pencil drawing. Oh, you got that. Yeah, that is great. Uh, I really love that. To take anything, your pencil drawings or what have you, and just have the machine reproduce your hand over and over again is just amazing. Now, it's not meant to do stuff like we do it. We're artists. We kind of take something and kind of run with it and make it do stuff that it's not meant to do. But that's why we're artists. And Brad says, Tim, it's a win-win. When we win, when you win, we win too. So true. So true, Mr. Brad. Rick says, name for your new studio, Tim's Casa Artismo. I love it. That is great, Rick. I like that. All the way from all the way from Vancouver, British Columbia. You're just outside of Vancouver, right, Rick? If I got that right. Let me see. And so Travis says, sounds cool, JC. Lettering is where I use the cutter the most. I gave it to give those sign letter guys big props. Yes, that is so great. Yes, Victoria. All right, I got it. Okay. Sometimes I forget, but I'm happy when I remember. That's a crazy sentence, right? So I went a little bit over underspray with the hair, so I got rid of that. So really kind of loving what's going on with her blouse. So what I'm going to do is I want to make sure I don't have any overspray or anything like that. So, but you know what? No overspray. We are going to do some paintbrush techniques. I think that would be fun. Let's see. So, do I do paintbrush techniques first, or do I go over it with... Let's do that. So, I am going to get another cup, and we're going to spray some of this off brown color. I think that would be good. So let's do that. So Again, we're going to start with our, do I do a glaze? I think a glaze might be a little staining. So we're going to start off with our white again. So I think I'm going to start thinking like an opaque painter right now. And Cheese Grits and NyQuil says that blouse color is great. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Prince would rock that blouse. Did you guys ever see the Chappelle show where he did the story of Prince with Charlie Murphy? Oh my God, that's the one thing I can watch now, and my sides will be hurting. With Prince and playing basketball, and it's so funny. It just I don't want to get this channel demonetized or anything, so I am just going to say watch it. That would be the best. So I'm looking for sepia. If you were sepia, where would you be? Probably hiding from me. Let's see. There we go. Detail sepia. I'm going to put a couple of drops of that in there. Love the blurred background. Haven't done a portrait with depth of field yet. Adds a big touch. Thanks, Travis. I really enjoy that. I love that because I'm a photographer, and I love portrait photography and using the flash and, getting that bouquet, and that just makes me happy. So really love that. I'm going to put 3 drops in. Let's do 4. Let's work on the wild side. Okay. Now that we did that, so here's something. Who did that song, Walk on the Wild Side? I'm curious. I'm going to 4011 this. So the sepia is a little bit on the gray side, right? So we want to add some warmth. We want to do that. So do we do a little bit of the burnt umber? Because the burnt umber is kind of chocolatey, right? See how it has a chocolatey, dark chocolate, cocoa? I'm going to hit that a little bit, and we're going to see what that does. I'm like a mad scientist, but different. All right, now I'm going to take, where is it? I'm looking for my palette knife, and there it is. And we're going to shake this up. And what I'm looking for is, see that? Kind of looks like chocolate milk, but maybe it needs to be just a tad bit warmer. So what do we put in that has an amber flavor, right? And so I'm going to look for something with an amber flavor. How about this? Detail Yellow Ochre. It's a little on the yellow side, but it does have that amber quality. Now, in the beginning of your airbrush journey, I recommend, using mechanical methods, to learn about color. But as you paint a little bit more, you want to go with your intuition. And because your intuition is, because everyone sees things differently, and this way, if you go with your intuition, you're going to see it a lot differently. But it's going to be your own individual way of painting. So I'm going to put a little bit more of this yellow ochre in. Detail Yellow Ochre. And maybe a touch more of this burnt umber. I want it a little bit darker. And I went a little overboard, but maybe I'll get away with it. Let's see. And yellow ochre and yellow ochre and burnt umber. Yellow ochre, burnt umber, and wicked white. And I'm just going to shake this, and I'm looking for kind of a dingy yellowy chocolate, and I'm getting there, as you can see, but maybe just the tiniest bit more of this. You know what might work is just a drop of this wicked red oxide. I know it's kind of But this is where the intuition comes. Sometimes your intuition works, sometimes it doesn't. And it may be too much because I put 2 drops in, but we'll find out. It's getting to where I want it to be. It really is. So I think we're okay. And I could always adjust, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Extreme Patriot Arrow. Make sure I don't use the ones I'm sending out this week. I have to use mine. And we're going to go ahead and load this up. And we're going to continue painting her beautiful cloak here. It might be too dark, we don't know. And that's the thing, you're not going to know until you actually, put it down, And let's see, Tim, are you moving farther from where you are right now? No, in the same area, which is really cool, Mike. So that's cool. Still in Bergen County, New Jersey. And Mark W. says, does anyone paint little boxes of colors on paper for quick reference? Yes, and that's the method of Mr. Drew Blair does it, and it's a great method, definitely is. Oh, Colette does color charts, and Ryan says he does. So yeah, it's a great method. Pretty sure all white is at Colette. Not sure what that means, Patrick. And Ryan says, I can still never find the right one. And JC says, love how she's coming along, nose, eyes, it's all coming. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And, oh, so that's your plan this weekend. Fantastic. So, remember, I have my test paper. And the test paper only works if it is the same paper. If you have different paper, if you're working on gray paper and you have white or yellow paper, don't expect to really know what it's going to do. So right here we have this kind of, see how right now we're getting that kind of old shirt kind of feel? There we go. So it's really working. So I'm happy with it. Wow, Colette, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your friendship and your support and all your thoughts and contributions to the live stream. And thank you so much for helping out you guys. We broke $100 in super chats. Isn't that amazing, guys? I'm so excited. And believe me, today at the live stream, I was like really dragging. I'm like, oh my God, do I do this? Do I go lay down? And I laid down before the live stream. And, I just prayed to God. And, it turned out to be just an incredible live stream, And I wouldn't have traded it for anything. So thank you for being so cool and having great people to look forward to every week. And I mean that, having great people to look forward to definitely is how I feel, and so great. So thank you guys. And like I said, we broke $100. So this is going to be November is going to be my record super chat ever. So thank you, everybody, for your support in November, especially during moving months, right? Where everything costs money, I got a post office box because, I don't know where I'm going to be. And the post office box, they wanted 6 months in advance for a post office box. That was horrible. So I don't know if I'm going to be there in that area of the post office box for 6 months. So that was a real hassle. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a glaze over everything. So I'm about 4 inches away. And the white's really great because the glaze goes right over it and kind of assimilates the white into the rest of her dress, which is really nice. and it unifies it, right? It makes it look like it's painted on, you know, not like a bunch of, you know, values next to each other, but it's all assimilated. And then I'm going to come in with some paintbrush techniques and work that together. So great. And Mark says he's on a call and got to go to bed. Everyone, Mark, thank you so much for hanging out. I look forward to seeing you when you can. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you for the friendship on Facebook. And I'm looking forward to talking with you again soon. And keep doing that great work, Brad. Mark, keep doing it. It's amazing. Just as amazing. Very cool. Thank you everybody for welcoming Mark. So that was great. And Patricia, thank you everybody for welcoming Patricia. So it's so great to see you, Patricia. I'm so happy about that. Oh my God, Brad Mummery with the second super chat. That is so amazing. Brad says, let's see if we can't get you past 200 to help with the move. Thank you, my friend. Brad, I really appreciate you, sir. And just, you know, you guys are great. You never disappoint me, you know, in your comments and, you know, and your friendship. And I feel it. And that's what keeps me going, you know. Like, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, the hardships. So I was thinking, you know, when we are an artist or a musician, you hear about Jewel, right? Jewel slept in her car. But if she didn't get to the point where she decided that she was all in, and even if she slept in the car, she wouldn't stop. She would keep going. And then I thought about it. Monet got evicted, and he had to have his friend, oh my God, Mr. Cheese Grits and NyQuil, thank you so much with the very incredibly and beautifully generous super chat of $49.99. That is just amazing. I just want to say you are great. Like I say, you know, you guys become real friends to me. And and that means the world to me. And nobody's a failure who has friends. And that was from It's a Wonderful Life. And it's so true. And I just want to say thank you, Patrick. And Patrick and I are doing a Harley Quinn, and that's exciting. So he's moving on to from India Inc., and he's moving on to working with Createch. So really excited to work with you, and so glad I met you in the last couple of years. It's been an honor, and you're a dear friend. Thank you. So you guys are just out of this world, you know? This is just beyond, beyond. Now what I'm going to do is I really want to hit this blouse, but if I don't cover everything around it, then I'm just going to create more work. It's okay to have overspray because we'll fix it. But if you can avoid it, then you save yourself some work, right? And who doesn't want to save themselves some work? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for my shirt only stencil. And you know what happens when you work, you know, you change things and you make, you know, corrections, you know, from the original drawing, and then it doesn't fit anymore. But that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're just going to stop most of the overspray. Let's see. You guys are just amazing. So thank you, Patrick. And thank you, Brad and Colette and Steve and everyone. Ryan, you guys are just out of this world. And all the others who have left super chats today. And believe me, this is a record day already. Like I said, today I was the most tired. And the closest I came to postponing the live stream for the first time, I think, in like 4 years. And I was like, no, got to keep the streak alive. Keep the streak alive. And I'm so glad I did, because it turned out to be such a wonderful evening, uh, which is so amazing. And it's still we just are at 10:30, so that's great. Okay, so we're going to be a little more forceful with this McDonald's chocolate milkshake color. So about 6 inches away. Because remember, with the inverse square law, the further you're away, the less power it's going to be, right? So if I'm from, let's say, 6 inches away, it's going to be a lot less power. That means once it gets down here, there's going to be a lot less pounds per square inch. But also, since it's a cone, the color is going to be more dispersed, and that's where you're going to get that really beautiful even coverage. And so that's fantastic. And yes, Cheese Grits and NyQuil says, rest when you're dead. For now, though, back to work. So true. That is so true. And let's see, Brad says, I guess that's why they call them live streams. Got to keep them alive. So true, right? There's something special about a live stream that, you know, and that's why I really concentrated on live streams. I decided in 2018, actually I remember February 2018, I'm like, you know what? No one's doing live streams at the time, and I was like, I'm just going to do live streams and concentrate on that, keep them simple, and it really worked out, you know. So now you can see, guys, I did a little bit more forceful, and we're gonna take this off just to see how it looks and see if that was a good decision. Yeah, see how it's much closer to our image here? We're very close, and that's what we want. We don't want to get the exact color, because that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a proximity so that we can grow and move with it, right? So I'm going to come in with my white mixture with the orange. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of assimilate it a little bit. Just put some of these back. Just kind of, I'm going to be like maybe 8 inches away. So why 8 inches away? Because I'm not going to change the detail. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to smooth out the surface. And again, make it feel like an oil painting. I'm not saying this is the right look. This is my look, right? That's all it is. Or not my look, I own it. The look I like, you know? So that's what it is, you know? Brad and Mr. Ryan says, well, Patrick, we will do the resting, Tim. Yes, you guys will do the resting. So you guys rest. I'll be here in the garret, you know? Okay, so that's cool. So we have that situated. Now, let's go back to this color and see, can we use it in, that's interesting. So now is where we want to come in with a more of a transparent. So I'm going to empty this out, and we're going to clean this out, and I am going to clean it really good. So I do have my water with me. No, I don't. I need to get it. I'll be right back, guys. Let's see. Yeah, I thought I was going to get a little further towards completion today, but it just didn't turn out that way, and that's okay. Maybe we'll need another week. But I have some great ideas for the next painting. I think it's going to be a winter scene outside, so I'm looking for that. Looking forward to that. Maybe a city scene in the winter with Persephone. So continuing my series. What are the plans? Maybe a show of my Persephone work that I've been doing since... I've been doing Persephone, the theme, off and on, since I was in my early 20s. And, you know, I rarely show them, but it's going to be great. You know, maybe one day a gallery will decide to show them all together. I sold many of them. Actually, a lot of them have sold, but I do have a lot still. So I went ahead and cleaned it. One thing, guys, that you want to know is the cap. The cap it's deceiving. You know, it's just a cap, no big deal. But it has this little, I'm going to zoom in for you. And it has this paint on it. And that paint will ruin your day. Because you think that's not much. But just a little bit, if it's the right, you know, combination, will just destroy what you're doing. And it will make it to the point where you're like, what is that? You know? So make sure that you clean that. And let's see, Mike says, it just goes to show you no matter how tired we are, we can still get things done right. So true, right? So true. And we just gotta step back and, you know, look at the big picture. And that's kind of what I'm doing today. I know today I was talking about adding details, but more about stepping back and looking at the big picture. So now, so the sepia was not the color because sepia is kind of on the dark side. But you know what's really good? I think raw umber. I like raw umber. And let's see, where's our raw umber? We have sepia. No, raw umber should be up here. Here it is, detail raw umber. It has like a kind of a greenish tinge to it. And so let's see here. And we're going to add this. And this has a nice greenish color to it. So we're going to add a little bit to this. And we're going to try a transparent. So we're going to 4011 it. We're going to over reduce it like Mr. Leahy does. Sometimes he does 20-to-1 and it works, and that's amazing, right? His 20-to-1 mixtures are incredible. And 543 game, that's pretty cool. What's that about? Let's see. Let's see. So what is a 543 game, Patrick? That sounds pretty cool. So now and I'm going to put a little bit of the UVLS Clear Gloss 4050. One of the things I'm really enjoying about working with the Wicked is that it's so technical, right? It's almost like, you know, airplane mechanics, you know? It really is cool. It really, you know, kind of satisfies the nerd in me to go in there and say I'm adding 4050 and 4011, all this stuff. It adds that like technical thing, which is really great. So that's interesting. So now we have this color, and it's on the green side, and it's super transparent. So what do we know about transparents? We know that transparents work best on a lighter color. So because what happens is the transparent lets light pass through it. So if you have a lighter color, you're going to have that detail kind of pass through it. So that's what it is. So when you're using your transparents, let's make sure that we are have a lighter color underneath. So what I'm going to do, and we're just going to test, and you know what? This is on the money. This is exactly what I wanted. Doesn't always happen, right? But when it does happen, you just say thank you and we move on. And now we can go in and start getting some of that detail. And Patrick says it was a half blank attempt at being clever. He thinks the game is made when you look where you throw the finger ring out in an attempt to get someone else to look. Oh, I remember you were talking about that. Yes, that's pretty cool. I remember you talking about that one. Okay, so you see how this is really working out. And I'm going to use this mixture with a paintbrush. So this is exactly where we want to be. Now right here, I think I'm going to use my freehand shield. And let's see. So Dwayne's not here today. So Dwayne, if you're watching this on record, just know that you are missed, sir. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and hope to see you soon. And thank you so much for all your friendship and hanging out with us every week. And I just want to let you know you are missed, my friend. And we'll put this here. Okay, that's the white, so that's where I don't want to spray. So with the freehand shield, we cover what we don't want to spray, right? And it's good that, you know, we figure that out before we spray. And I've done that, right? Where you cover where you want to spray and then you sprayed where you didn't want to spray and you're like, oh, that was good. So been there, done that. Put your magnets close to the edge. You're not going to get that flipping and flopping, okay? So now I'm just going to be about 4 inches away. Let's get our paper and see what our spray is doing. I'm going to raise the air pressure, okay? And let's make this happen. There we go. We're just working on this here. A little bit darker on the edge there. There we go. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we have. See, there we go. So we did create that, which is nice. There you are, Mr. Dwayne. Good to see you. We were just speaking about you, sir. How's it going? How is everything, sir? San Luis de Obispo. And there's some Mustangs and not the banana slugs, right, sir? So who out there is following college football? So busy day. Oh, cool. Busy is good. That means the money's coming in, and as my mom says, you want to keep the wolf at the door, right? So that's when you're ahead with the bills. You're keeping the wolf at the door. I love that expression. And so going back to, you know, how it's interesting throughout history when, you know, you think about the great painters or the great inventors who are, you know, someone like Walt Disney. I think he was like bankrupt like 4 or 5 times. Ooh, that was crazy. 4 or 5 times. Those are the visionaries that, or maybe the crazy people who keep going when most people are like, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna throw in the towel, right? And that's it. You know, it's the crazy people who are going to continue, like Jewel, living out of her car when she could have said, you know what? I'm just gonna go to business school. Not that business school is bad, but she had a dream and a vision, and she kept going. And if she didn't, there wouldn't be a Jewel, right? And I think that's so important. Mr. Cheese Grit says he's got to run. Have a great night. Thank you so much for the incredible Super Chat sticker. So amazing, sir. I just want to say thank you. Looking forward to hopefully having our class on Saturday. I'm going to do everything I can to make it happen. I just got to get the other studio going by that time. So that's the plan. So right now I'm just going to concentrate on working on the studio and not putting anything in storage yet. That's going to be for next week. So we're going to try and get that going. And Travis says he thinks the owner of 3M was bankrupt too. Lots of cool stories. Yes. And I was saying earlier that Monet, you know, the water lilies, and his friend was the great painter, Auguste Renoir. And Renoir he had money, so Renoir would take some of the scraps from his parents' dinner table and give that to Monet, who became the most well-known, richest artist of his time. So, if he stopped and just said, you know what, it's too hard, I'm not going to do it, we would not have all those paintings. And his father was very wealthy and kept saying, what are you going to do? Why are you doing this? And even cut off his allowance. So, yeah, so there's a lot of craziness that happens when you have this, like, unreasonable dream, and it is unreasonable. There was one expression about the unreasonable man and the reasonable man. And I want to see if I can find that before the end of the live stream. What I'm going to do is, right along here, it's slightly more of this brown color. And I'm just going to accentuate this right here. And then we're going to come down here a little bit like this. There we go. And we'll come back in with the white mixture. But remember when we were doing that kind of pumping of the trigger? I'm going to do that, but I'm not going to arbitrarily pump the trigger. I'm going to pump the trigger while doing the 1 second rule. Now what this does, it keeps me looking at what I'm painting and makes it more accurate just by the act of watching. So if you look for 1 second, you paint for 1 second. If you look for 2 seconds, you paint for 2 seconds. But don't look and paint. So look, then paint. Look, then paint. So don't look and paint. That's bad. So you want to, because if you're looking for 2 seconds, then you're going to hit your mark. And that's what it's all about, hitting your mark. And let's see, everyone is wishing Mr. Patrick a great night. That is so cool. JC says great folds. Thank you, sir. Folds are like hair, It's something that you're going to keep doing, right? You're going to keep at it because it's not going to happen right away. It sort of just kind of comes together. And then we'll come back in with the white mixture and everything. So right now I'm just going to lift this up. And we're a little bit closer, but I think the raw umber, straight raw umber out of the bottle, of course 4011ing it, kind of made it. But I see where it's a little blotchy. So then we come back again with this white mixture, and we just kind of even it out. And I'm about 7 inches from the subject, right? So it's not getting rid of any detail. It's just kind of evening things out a little bit. That's all it's doing. And that's what we're doing. So we're just going back and forth until we get it. And you know what? I don't get it right away. I have to work hard. I always had to work hard at everything I had. I always had to be in the studio longer than my counterparts at art school. Some people could just whiz right through it. And I had to just be tenacious and keep going. So right now I'm coming in with the paintbrush. And so we're gonna hit some of these super darks. And I'm just taking it, should I take it out of the airbrush? Probably not. I have a full cup of this stuff, so why am I doing that? Okay, so we'll come here and we'll use this right here. Oh, cool. And Mr. Travis says, so many people lacking art. There's many paths to make money. He's experienced a lot of family doubting for him when he went down the art path. When they see success, then they support you. So I was on a dean's list in college, and I was going the route of, graphic design and commercial art. And I was on a dean's list in college, regular university. But I wasn't learning what I wanted to. And one Thanksgiving I came home and I said, I just want to study with Harvey Dinnerstein and I want to be a painter. They looked at me like I had 2 heads, and rightfully so. It's like they see me with this opportunity that they didn't have, and they were like, you're crazy. And I was, but after much looking at me like I had 2 heads, they knew that this was something I wasn't giving up. That's something that I really felt inside. And they were very supportive. So I'm so thankful for that. Dwayne says that he had the same deal with his family. It's they love you, and it's from a good place because they don't want you to struggle. And I understand that. And it is a struggle, and whether you're a custom painter or you're selling fine artwork or whatever, there's going to be that time of kind of finding yourself and finding yourself not as an artist but as a commercial entity. Like Mark Rothko, he was struggling, and then in his 50s he did a series of paintings that just changed everything. And all of a sudden, from struggling, he gets a commission worth the equivalent of, let's say, $5 million, just for one commission. And his work was at the Museum of Modern Art, and he was the hottest thing. And it just happens, and it's just amazing. And are you guys charging them double to family members? It's so funny, right? You kind of, but they are thinking, in the right terms. They just want us to be successful financially and not have to struggle. The American dream. Own your own home and get a little something for yourself, and that's important, right? And and Dwayne says he won't do any art for family ever. That's funny. Um, but you know what? When we do make it financially and everything happens, then you know what? Then they realize that it's important to follow your heart when it comes to what you're dedicating your professional life to. Anyone's family, Ryan says. And Travis says, best thing you can do for your art to do is do your art on many platforms, from music to canvas to get the gas tank, a motorcycle, a t-shirt. There's lots of strings to pull. Yeah, you know what? When you're making money, it's really what's important is that uh, you're just bringing in the money. It's all about revenue, and every time you make a buck, that's closer to getting where you want to be. Just do the best job for them, and that's the greatest. To me, I think that's the greatest advertisement is just exceed your customers or collectors' expectations. So that's really important. So I'm doing a little linear stuff right now in her dress, which is cool. I like doing linear stuff as well. And we just notice how the raw umber works with that chocolate color and kind of makes it happen, And like I say, color is really intuitive. Not at first. I don't think you should be intuitive in the beginning, but the goal for us is to become intuitive color color theorists, right? How to get that color is not so much following a plan as you develop your eye. And so if you think of that way, that's where you want to head. So it's good to have those different methods and techniques, but just make sure that that you're heading in the right direction of intuition. Sort of like a chef, right? A chef starts using, everything like the milliliter and the teaspoon and half a tablespoon. But after a while, they just do it, right? And that's where we want to get with color. And it's not easy. It's not easy to get there. So now I'm just going to very lightly and transparently kind of work up here. And I'm using the 1 second rule. So with the 1 second rule, it keeps me honest, right? And that's what I want to do. I want to keep it honest. I want to uh, keep it fresh and not labored over. You don't want it to be labored over, and it will look labored over if we're too in our portraits if we're too succinct, right? We want to be loose where we can be loose, and that's great to look at works by Sorolla and Sargent and Rembrandt and Franz Hals. Those guys will really teach us a visual shorthand, like in folds. So to always remember that your star of the show is always the eyes of your subject, right? Ryan says he means just look at poor Tim burning the midnight oil while you're eating popcorn and drinking watermelon and vodka. The watermelon and vodka soda sounds. I don't. The watermelon soda sounds great. I don't know about the vodka, but oh man, watermelon soda, does that exist? JC says Tim loves what he does. I do. I really do. Um, it is. It's kind of like an impulse, right? I kind of can't not do it. It's something that is. I can't escape it. I can't go a day without doing it, without feeling guilty, and it's always been that way. And so Travis says, Tim, you do fabulous work. Thank you, sir. And I mentioned it before. If you painted that on a motorcycle tank, it's a whole new market. Reminds me of Steve Gibson's work. He started in oil paint. Thank you, my friend. That I want to get into that. So any advice you guys could give me, how do I start? I mean, if it's going to bring in, a second income, I'm all for it because there's no there's not nobility in poverty. There's no mobility in sticking to things when things are tough. But if there's a market and we're able to do it, then right, we definitely should. So if you guys think that that's something that I could succeed in, then I'm definitely keen of looking into it. Definitely. And and So Dwayne says, I will always airbrush art and have since 14. Might as well make money doing it. Yes. And yeah, definitely. And I'll always do this stuff because I'm a fine artist. That's the whole thing. But if I can do some things to make money, oh yeah. Like I want to get into hockey helmets, because I know if I can get like an NHL player to give me the okay to paint their helmet, I know I can do something that could blow their mind and maybe get work that way. So if I can get the okay for, let's say, the goalie of the Devils or the Red Wings, that would be amazing. And I would do it for free for the exposure, and it would be far worth it. And you see, now I'm doing some of the little folds and designs in her dress, but they're very abstract. And here's another thing. So abstract art is very important to learn because we learn how to create uh, designs without it really being anything. And that really helps. So love the work of Jackson Pollock and de Kooning and stuff like that. There's some really great gems of knowledge in abstract expressionist work. And let's see, Michael says he's his own worst critic. Yes, but remember, so this is it, Michael, be an artist, don't be a critic. So do your work, be like, this is what Andy Warhol said. His advice is when you do the artwork, don't worry about whether people like it or not. When they're deciding whether it's good or not, make more work. And if you continue that, You're always making new work, regardless of whether people like it. But remember, don't be an art critic because that is going to hurt you. You're an artist, not an art critic. So you do your part and you create your amazing work. Let the art critics do their job, right, sir? And JC says he loves it so much. We were painting at 12 midnight on a Saturday just to catch up with class. That's right. That was great. Yes, definitely. A lot of times with my students, I'm up until 12 o'clock, and all my students could tell me, I'll make up a class. I mean, one class I did where somebody was working the night shift, and we did an 11 to 1 shift, 11 to 1 class, because I always want to make sure that you guys get in your week's work. So so let's say, we do a class and we do it once a week, right? That's my mentorship program. So you might say once a week for 2 hours, what's that going to accomplish? Remember, we overestimate what we can do in a week, but we underestimate what we can do in a year. So if we're working together for 2 hours a week, every week after week, you're going to get so much better. It's like, and I see it in my students, and they're like, holy cow, I'm getting control with this airbrush. And that's it, because when you do the weekly classes, it happens, it happens slowly, but it's a habit, and it's really great. So that is really great. So that's one of the reasons I try to make sure I don't let my students miss a week. And if we have to pick a different day, we do, because my students' development is so important, and to keep that kind of continuity is really crucial, right? It really is. And yes, definitely. Thanks, JC. JC says I'm flexible with the schedule. Definitely. Ryan says he has to hit the hay. Too many vodka sodas. Man, one of these days we got to have a watermelon soda together. That sounds amazing. Hold the vodka for me. But I'm looking forward to that. And oh man, watermelon soda. That sounds just incredible. So have a great night, Ryan. Thank you so much for hanging out. And thank you for the super chat, I believe. And so you are amazing. I just want to say I am honored that you hang out with me. And yes, thank you so much for that super chat, sir. And thank you for hanging out and spending time with me on this cold Wednesday night in my soon-to-be former studio after 16 years. So that's going to be wild. And now I have to find my raw umber. What did I do with it? It was just here. Okay, so I had my raw umber right here. And here it is. Okay, we're back. All right, so we're just going to start hitting some of this. And this, like I said, this is where, watching the abstract expressionist painters and working on color fields and stuff like that. And I may go ahead and blow up my reference so I can just see what kind of abstract shapes we're having, and we don't want it too dark. So I do like a dry brush technique. And it might look like, I'm really paying attention, but I'm really just looking at the abstract quality of what's happening. There we go. And now you can see how it looks like it's like I really struggled to get the lace on her gown or blouse. So Michael says, take somebody your work to the car shows and motorcycle shows nearby and set up. You might get businesses that way. People love portraits on their bikes. Oh man, that's a great idea. And that's why I really worked on Wicked, because, because I haven't worked on Wicked before. And I started about, when did I start? Probably about 6 months ago, working with Wicked. And now I could work on any surface, because that's the great thing about Wicked. It's hard surface paint. So that would be exciting. So that's a great idea. And I'm going to take you up on that advice. That's great advice, Michael. Thank you for taking the time to give me that advice. And that is really cool. And so again, just like the hair and the folds, we are going to kind of slowly, kind of work on it, a little bit at a time. Not try and solve the equation right away. But isn't it great how that raw umber really, really worked? Now I have it in the airbrush, and now I can hit some of these areas here, some of this fold coming down like this. Kind of soften this up. And then I can come back in with the white. So you see how we just continue going back and forth until we get exactly what we want. And, it's not perfect, but that's why we continue going back and forth, and we work until it's not perfect, but we work until we're happy with it. And then we can use our freehand shield and, maybe darken an area on the edge here. Get some sort of variety. And then right in here we have a little indentation, and make sure your airbrush is behaving. So I didn't give my airbrush a deep cleaning after yesterday's session. I didn't give it, and I'm paying the price, so it's not working. So after you finish your painting, I recommend, if it's not a custom micron, if it's something like my airbrush, is take it apart fully, run water through the base of it, and then I take the nozzle, run water, put a needle through it, make sure there's no little doodads in there, and then run the water there, and then your airbrush is super clean. The airbrush is so simple. Once you have everything cleaned out of it, there's really no reason for it to fail. If your needle is not bent and your nozzle is not broken, there's really no way for it to fail. So if you go ahead and make sure there's nothing in that nozzle, it's a win-win, that's exactly it. So it's like, it's a conclusion that your airbrush will work as good as the day you purchased it. And oh, great. JC says his customized airbrush is still going. Glad to hear. You do some great work with that, my friend. Yes. So thank you so much for purchasing one. It's an honor that you guys use them. And that's the great thing. I see my airbrush as kind of like the A10 Warthog. It really works, and it's simple, but it's precise at the same time. And there's less moving parts, and that makes it a much more reliable airbrush. And now I'm coming back in with the white mixture, as you can see, and just kind of blending things out, softening it, making it less of an airbrush look and more of an oil painting look. Like I said, this is just my look. It's not better, it's not worse. It's just, I'm a trained oil painter, so that's just the origin of, of me and the look I'm after. And we'll keep going. And again, I'm just going to keep doing it until I get it right. So now I have this kind of white mixture, and I think I'm out of it in there, but I do have it still here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this up, and I'm going to paintbrush it on the light parts of her frills. And that's it, sometimes you got to stick with things until you get it, right? You just got to be tenacious. And that's what I'm being right now. Just real tenacious here. Tenacity, one of my favorite words. And you can see that even when we're working with this, the white mixture works with the paintbrush as well, you know, because it really gets rid of any blue shift. Now you don't get too much blue shift with paintbrush, but you know, you don't see the orange. The orange doesn't show up. And again, we're going to do the 1 second rule. And you can just tap it with your finger if it gets a little wet on the surface. You just tap it. Just once, because you tap it a second time, then it's going to make a mess. There we go. So you see now it's a little better. It's starting to come together. And you know, it's like I realize I'm not going to get it right away, right? That's not going to happen. But if I stick with it, things will look good. And with every painting, right, everybody, there's always going to be something that's going to be your little bugaboo. Something that, you know, giving you trouble throughout the whole work. Have you guys experienced that? There's always something. You know, one work might be the nose, or it might be the folds. But there's always something that's giving you a headache, you know, throughout the whole painting. But the thing is to learn about it, learn from it, and keep going, you know. Keep at it, and then make notes of how you handled it. And the next painting could be about, okay, I'm going to avoid that. How can I avoid that and never have that problem again? And that's where, you know, the whole, you know, pragmatic approach to painting and getting better comes from. So, and then, so here, which is really cool, and so now we're getting a little bit better. And then we'll come over here. And it's great because we can break up some of the areas that got too kind of, you know, the paint kind of made big shapes when it should have made small shapes. So we can break that up, which is cool. And then we can use the paintbrush to kind of paint in some of the lights. So let's do that. Let's use the paintbrush to kind of hit some of that light. And you see here, what I want to do is that when we paint, it's too wet. So I take off some of the excess water. And now I have like a dry brush technique. And then I could kind of bring over this light like that. And it might be too strong, and you can just tap that, you know, with your finger. That's fine. And let's see what I missed. Brad says every time. Very cool. And Michael says some of the parts can off the places that you need painting. Some of the parts can off the places that you need painting. I'm not sure if you can expound on that, Mike. And Travis says the bottom round of the nose and lip area is very difficult. Subtle changes yet dramatic. Yes, what I recommend, and I know you probably do this already, is to really look at what's happening with the muscles and the fat compartments in those areas, and the cartilage. So the cartilage is really important with that, and that helps me a lot. So if you can go on the internet and look for fat compartments of the nose and cartilage of the nose, it's really great. So I'm going to send you something, Mr. Travis. What is your email address? Or I'll just send it via IM. And what it is, it's it shows the cartilage of the nose and how the different, different areas of nose. Like the top area, like 1.5 inches, is your nasal bones. And then below that is the upper lateral cartilage, and then the alar cartilage. And those are very distinct, and it's very important to know that, because then you can see the nose a lot easier as those three parts. And then going into the philtrum will really help you understand what's happening to the nose as it goes the bottom of the nose and what happens. So that made my life so much easier, and so that helped me. And JC says on portrait painting he finds garments to be more challenging. Yeah, we all have our challenges, right? And Brad says she's looking great, Tim. I really appreciate that. And so, the painting isn't about the blouse, right? We spent a whole lot of time on this blouse, but we don't want it to be a weakness either. So we may have to spend some time on this blouse, right? And that's okay because we don't want it to be a weakness. We don't want it to be the focus of the painting, but we have to make sure it's not the weakness. So just like the hair and the folds, we're going to work on this blouse until we get it right, And it might not happen right away. We might have to come back in with that brownish mixture again, and that would be just fine. But we don't have to recreate the folds and the we don't have to create the weave of the fabric. We just got to get the idea of it, right? And JC says, but I'm killing the details with the details. Oh, wow, thank you. Yeah, the blouse is really rough, right? And it's not my forte, but if we stick with it, we're going to be okay. Just like anything else, just like, Jewel living out of the car. If she didn't do that and stick with it and keep going, there wouldn't be a Jewel, or there wouldn't be, what is it, Steve Harvey. He talks about he was living out of his car and he kept going. And if he didn't, what would have happened? It's just amazing that these people kept going when most people would have said, I had enough. I'm not doing this anymore. So right now, when I dried it and then went over it, it kind of created a little blue shift. So we're going to wait till that dries before we do it. So, when you're doing something like this, you're going to have these like weird things that happen. And the main thing is when you have these weird kind of things is to step back and say, okay, I'm going to handle it, but I'm going to wait. So right here, look what happened. So I put in the wet and then I hit it with my finger, but for some reason it did a blue shift. But we can resolve that, but we're going to wait on that. So those are the weird things that happen. But the important thing is that we don't get emotional about it. And I get emotional sometimes when I'm working on a painting and something like that happens, and I'm like, I must fix it now, and that's where I make it much worse. So we have to make sure we don't do that. And we can see right now, we dedicated some time to this blouse, and the blouse is becoming too important. So we have to make sure that we bring in more detail to our focus, and our focus is definitely her eyes, right? So we're going to have to come into that a little bit more. And then right here we're going to kind of bring this down a little bit. So bring some of these folds, some of these parts of the fabric that come out, we want to bring them closer to us. So we're going to create more contrast, and we're going to make it a little bit lighter. So her arm is really the closest thing to us. So that's where we want the highlights to be, and also the highest contrast. So you see that now her arm is coming closer. And Mr. JC says, awesome job, Tim. Killing it in a good way. Thanks. A compliment, Tim. Oh, I appreciate that, sir. No, I do. Killing it. I love that expression. Thank you, sir. It means a lot to me. And Michael says, come off. Let me see. Some of the parts of the painting in places can come off. So true, right? I mean, that happens. And, weird things happen when you're painting in airbrush. I mean, really, no matter what paint you're using, there's going to be some weird things, and you're going to be like, what the heck just happened? How do I resolve this? And it happens. Again, when you're doing the folds, keep that 1 second rule because that's going to keep your head in the game. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to do 1 second, and I realize that this is much lighter here. And I'm just going to bring this over. Now again, I'm not going to hit that with my finger because I created that blue shift. I'll come back to that, but I have to let that dry first. And let's see if it's dry. We're just going to test it. There we go. Disaster averted. So once it dries, then I'll let it dry again and I'll come back to it, you know. But yes, it is scary. So I went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art last week. I took some family members, gave them a tour, and it was amazing to see the works of William Bouguereau up close. And you know that one painting, Flaming June, that was there on loan from the Tate Gallery, I believe, in London. Just amazing. That was the highlight of the visit for me. There we go. So now we are starting to get nice volume with her. And notice that I'm doing some simple brush strokes. I was speaking with a student today about the artwork of David Leffel. And David Leffel is very interesting because he's a very slapdash painter, but he says that when you do a brush stroke, you want to mean it. You want to have a beginning and an end. And there's a lot of you know, so you have a beginning. You're very with your brush strokes, you're being very deliberate and not so, you know, blendy. And I don't always believe that. I think blending is really a lot of fun, but if you are more forceful with your brush strokes, then good things could happen. It looks more confident. And JC says, JC says, looks very colonial. Sure does. That blouse, doesn't it? Now right here, towards the end, you know, doing the 1 second rule, we can't let this get too, this has to kind of compete a little bit. There we go. And then right here, we can come. Be forceful with that brush stroke. Let that brush, mean that brush stroke, you know? Say it with conviction. Not always, but have some of that in the work when you can. Like I say, looking at the work of the great masters, you can see they don't get too involved with things like folds. They will do things that are kind of a shorthand and be more detailed, you know, in the figure and stuff like that. So, you know, and then I'm going to probably come in with that brown again, but now I'm going to be a little forceful here. Watch this. So I'm going to take the white, and I want to have a strong silhouette against her skin. So on the tops, intermittently, not everywhere, I'm going to go ahead and just create a strong silhouette, and that's going to really help. So just a strong silhouette intermittently while doing the 1 second rule, right? I don't want to be too arbitrary. There we go. And I may have to calm it down, and that's the beauty of it, you know? It's not finished until it's finished. Actually, it's never finished. It's only abandoned. That's what Picasso said. Okay, and then right here, we'll kind of put this here, and we'll be a little forceful with our brush strokes. And here it's a little crazy. I may have to calm this down a little bit, and that's okay. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to tap it. I don't learn, right? So I'm just going to tap that. And just let that calm down. Again, you know, I went to the wrong well again and create a little weirdness. But that's okay. That's part of learning. Sometimes I need to get hit in the head several times before I learn it. And we're just going to keep going towards the end here. And so that's it with the blouse. Let's see if I could focus her in. Let's see if I'm gonna kind of show you how abstract the blouse really is. It's really very abstract from the outside, but then when we zoom out, it looks nice and tight, right? So that's what you want to do. That's where, kind of working with the, the abstract and the tight realism and the looseness, and kind of have different flavors. Hey, what's going on, Mr. James? Great to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Never abandoned, just delayed. Very true. Very true. And Mr. JC said, another great feed, Tim. Thanks for sharing your great teachings. Thank you so much, JC, for your comments and hanging out and your friendship. I appreciate you. And sometimes you have to take a week. That's true. And so, Air Todd, have a great night. Mike, thanks for hanging. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the super chat, my friend. Thank you, everybody, for the super chat. I just want to say you guys are fantastic. So we got a lot done this week, right? I think so. So next week, which is good because after the move and everything, I won't be able to start a new one. We're going to kind of tie everything together with Persephone, and we're going to finish her up. So I'm excited about that. Brad, have a great night. And Mr. Air Todd, thank you so much for the super chats. Dwayne, great to see you. Let's see all the great super chats today. We have Mr. Cheese Grits and NyQuil, $49. Brad Mummery, two super chats from Brad Mummery. Colette, thank you so much. And we have Mr. Mark W., a new person to the live stream. Great to see you. Mr. Steve Leahy, wonderful. Mike, thank you so much for the very amazing super chat. And I know Ryan gave a super chat. And there's others, but the chat doesn't go all the way up. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for being so great. And with the super chats, I hope you all have a great week. Keep painting. Stick to it. Don't let anything derail you. You're going to go really far. You're going to do things if you keep painting and keep going. Eventually, you'll start doing things that amaze you. And that is the truth. And that's from Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres, my favorite painter in the world. So take care, everybody. Next week, a whole new studio. How exciting. So I bid you all adieu. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you very soon.